Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Like that's almost as boneheaded as like running it or throwing the ball at the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl.
All right, so I think we're live. Let me make sure my computer's kind of lagging up here. There we go. All right. Anybody got eyes on the channel?
I'm looking at it right now.
Does it
Let me
say we're
see.
live?
Looking at it.
Where is it on here? Is it just under?
It should just be on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Like that's almost
Okay.
as boneheaded as
I got
like,
us. We're good. We're good. All right, we're
Okay.
live. All right, sorry about that, guys. I'm Nick, Talking Interference Sports. Introduce your guys' self.
Austin,
Oh, sorry.
writer. I'm Austin. I'm a writer with Game Changer Sports Network.
And I'm Christian Keller. I'm also a writer with Game Changer Sports Network.
All right, so if you guys aren't watching us on Game Changer Sports Network and you're watching us somewhere else and this has already been loaded somewhere else, go check out Game Changer Sports Network. They got awesome writers like these two fine gentlemen. If you're watching us on Game Changer Sports Network, go check out Talk Interference Sports. That's my page. And if you're in the Everett area, the Seattle Everett area, go to Tabby's Coffee, get a coffee, tell them Talk Interference Sports sent you, and she'll hook you up nicely. Go to SeatGeek.com when buying any of your tickets, concerts, sporting events, anything like that. Use promo code GCSN, get $20 off your purchase. All right. We're here. We're going to talk about some wild card playoffs. We got 4 games this weekend, I think. So 4
Correct.
games?
Yeah,
All right.
Saturday, Tuesday.
So what game sticks out to you guys the most? I'll start with Austin.
I like the Buffalo Houston matchup.
Okay.
I think it's going to just come down to Deshaun Watson's a better athlete.
Okay. So you think that because Deshaun Watson is the better athlete, they're going to come on top of this game?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Christian?
So the one that stuck out to me is Seattle at Philadelphia, and that's not just because you're a Seahawks fan, but so Seattle, like you said, with all their close games this year, this just screams trap game to me, just because their point differential is almost 0. So I truly think this could be a coin flip either way, and Philly's defense is 1,000% better when they're at home too. So Seattle's a weird team because I never think they're going to do very well, but the simple fact that they have Russell Wilson means that they are capable of winning any game they play. So I think that I do actually think these are the 2 weakest playoff teams just in terms of like just total roster construction, and both teams are pretty injured right now too.
Most
So
definitely.
yeah, this one will definitely be interesting just to see if Russell Wilson can keep pulling rabbits out of his hat like we're all accustomed to seeing, or if Philly can actually pull this off with basically a junior varsity receiving core at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The receiving core has been questionable, in my opinion, just as, from what I've watched of the Seahawks the entire season. Do you think that the Week 12 matchup in Philadelphia, where the Seahawks won 17-9, plays any kind of a factor into this?
I think it probably will, just because they'll use that as kind of a blueprint to know how to attack Philadelphia. Philadelphia's run defense is really good. That's been their strength all year, but their secondary, while they have played a little better, they're still a bit suspect. So I do think Russell Wilson makes it a point to dial up a lot of those deep shots that we're so used to seeing, and I think I'm not sure if Lockett's 100% healthy right now, but I think him and Metcalf will have at least a couple big catches maybe for touchdowns as well. So I definitely think that does play into it a little bit. And then on the other side, Seattle's defense has, again, it's kind of been a weird unit because they do have Clowney, and Clowney's capable of becoming just altering the game and becoming a game wrecker. But aside from that, their defense has been a little bit vulnerable to just to better teams and better quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson, or just a better coached team like Philadelphia with Doug Peterson. So I do think that plays at least a minor role in this next game.
What's your thoughts
Yeah.
on it, Austin?
I think this is the game where you finally realize that Carson Wentz isn't Superman. I think he's great. I really think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. But I think his lack of playmakers is finally going to show in this game. He's been able to disguise it against, the Giants, the Redskins, the Cowboys. Seattle's going to show them that he doesn't really have much to throw to. And I think it's still going to be a close game because I think, like you said, the Seattle's running backs aren't that great. And the Eagles' run defense, especially at home, is going to be pretty hard to move. I have Seattle winning 27-24.
Okay.
So,
Close
game.
I have the Seattle winning by a touchdown. So I didn't put down a score, but Seattle's going to win by a touchdown in a fourth quarter drive. That's what I'm thinking. Seattle's defense the last few weeks has been riddled with injuries. Basically, the whole team's been riddled with injuries. I mean, they brought back Marshawn Lynch. But Quandre Diggs is back in, so the secondary is going to look a lot better. And it sounds like Clowney is healthy and not, in a questionable status. So I feel like the Seahawks defense is going to step up a little bit better than what we've seen in the last 3 weeks. The Eagles receiving core just does not impress me this year. And I think this is going to be a time for Carson Wentz to show that he, is indeed what everybody thinks is Superman. And if not, the Seahawks secondary is going to have a good game.
Yeah, definitely. And Seattle's currently favored by 2. I'm looking at live odds right now.
Okay. By 2 points? Okay.
Yeah, -2.
All right. So are we all taking the Seahawks in this game?
Yeah, I'll take Seattle.
Against my better judgment, but yes, I'll take Seattle.
All right. Let's talk about that Bills-Texans game. That's the next Saturday game, or that's the first Saturday game, excuse me.
Yep.
I think you're totally right when you said Deshaun Watson is the better athlete. I think on the Buffalo Bills, they've got really good players, obviously. They've made it this far, and their defense is really good. But I think there's just more weapons to utilize in the Houston's offense to, be able to get past the Bills' defense. It's going to be a really close game. The Bills' defense, if they get some turnovers, this is going to go in their favor. But if
Do we know what the status of Will Fuller is?
I think he's questionable.
Okay, because that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's if he's not in and you're only relying on Hopkins, this is going to be a hard game for them to score some points on this defense.
I think they're going to have a hard time running the ball against Buffalo. And they haven't been good at running the ball all year. And if you put them up against a top 5 Buffalo defense like that, and like you said, if Will Fuller doesn't play and they only have to throw to Hopkins and Kenny Stills, it's going to be tough for Deshaun Watson, but I think he's going to make some plays, and I think he'll make it happen.
Okay. What are you thinking, Christian?
So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Watson is capable of some very special things, as we've seen this year. The only way that I see Buffalo winning this game is if they slow the game way down with their running game with Josh Allen and with Singletary and all those guys, and they make it a quicker game. They have really long possessions. Basically, the best way to beat a guy like Watson and Hopkins, just keep them off the field. That's the main thing you have to do. So if Buffalo can sustain drives and actually score touchdowns on those drives and not just field goals, then I think they can win. But that being said, that's a tall task, obviously.
All right. So are you guys both taking the Texans?
I think I'm going Buffalo, actually.
I think Buffalo's defense is going to get 2 turnovers that are going to be really, really important, and it's going to be maybe even a scoring turnover, and Buffalo's going to eke it out.
Because of Tre'Davious White and how good of a cornerback he's turning into, I think Buffalo takes this. Because especially if Fuller is out, all you have to do is just have him shadow Hopkins and just double team Hopkins, and I think Buffalo can pull this off.
He definitely has the skill set to do that. What are you thinking here, Austin?
I'll take Houston by a field goal.
Okay.
But I do think that the Texans will lose the time of possession battle.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think they'll just make bigger plays, but I think, like you said, the Bills will sustain longer drives.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Okay. So, here's a big one. Last Saturday game, Tennessee Patriots. Everybody I'm reading is saying that this is a coin flip game, and I kind of tend to agree with that.
Yeah, this is a game that I've kind of struggled to get an accurate read on, just because. So Tennessee is actually they're a 5-point underdog right now, which I think that's a bit too high because I think that this is going to be a close game. But we have to remember that no matter how terrible New England looks in the regular season, the playoff Patriots are a very different team than the regular season Patriots.
Definitely.
And as ugly as it may be, Brady and Belichick just find a way to do just enough to win. And I mean, I'm not a humongous fan of the Patriots, and I'd love to see Tennessee win this game, but it's just so hard for me to bet against Brady and Belichick in January. I just cannot do it.
What do you got? What are the odds on this one? What's the spread?
So Tennessee is a 5-point underdog. Let me see here. Looks like
Is it really only 5 points?
yeah, it started at 5.5, and it's kind of just been sitting at 5 so far.
Okay.
It actually, so it started at come on here. So the line opened, if my webpage ever loads here. Bear with me. Okay, so the line opened at so it opened at 5.5. So yeah, it's pretty much just stayed static to this point, but that does seem a little bit high to me, just because one other thing about this game, I think it'll be lower scoring just because Tennessee's strength is their run game with Derrick Henry, of course, and you have Foxborough in the winter. I just don't think that it's going to be a shootout, really. I'd put this at like 21-19 or like 19-16 or some ugly 1960s NFL score like that, but I do think New England does just enough.
All right.
I agree. I think the Patriots will do just enough to get by. I don't like the A.J. Brown matchup with Stephon Gilmore. I think A.J. Brown's he's my rookie of the year in the AFC.
Yeah, mine too.
But Gilmore's just a whole other animal, and playoff Gilmore's going to be even worse. So I don't like the matchup there. I think Derrick Henry will be the key to dismantling the whole Titans offense, because I don't think Ryan Tannehill can beat you over the top all game long.
I'd agree with that.
So I think Derrick Henry's going to have to be held under 100 scrimmage yards for them to win this game.
I
think you're exactly right.
Yeah, so what I was going to say, and you basically took my thoughts on it, is that Patriots defense, the offense may not have been very beautiful this year, but that Patriots defense has been very stout. And I don't think Ryan Tannehill has the skill sets, or honestly, their wide receiver core is not, top shape. Like they're good, but Derrick Henry is going to be the key in this game. And I totally agree with you, though I think he's going to get 100 rushing yards. They're going to end up having to catch up with the Patriots later on in this game.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Tannehill isn't the kind of quarterback that he can't. Well, maybe he can. We just haven't seen it yet. But he doesn't strike me as a quarterback that can single-handedly put a game on his shoulders and do that like a Watson or a Brady or someone like that. And the other thing that the Patriots defense is so good at, they take away your number one option, whatever it is. And I think that's Derrick Henry in this game.
Yes.
So I think New England sells out to stop the run. So I actually think that A.J. Brown could kind of be the X factor in this game. Can he take a 20-yard wheel route to the house, or can he get open on a long pass play? Because I mean, we've seen in a matter of 4 or 5 seconds how often or how much that can change the entire dynamic of a game. Right. So this one will be interesting to watch for sure.
The A.J. Brown matchup and Gilmore matchup, if I'm picking on sides on this, I got to go with New England on that one, though.
Yeah.
I'd agree with
Absolutely.
you on that, but the thing with A.J. Brown is you can shut him down the entire game. It only takes one.
That's true.
It only takes one play.
That is very true.
But yeah, will be interesting for sure.
I'm not entirely familiar with the rest of their wide receiver core.
Yeah, nothing to write home about, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what were you saying, Austin?
I think I just lost my point.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, there we go. Tannehill strikes me as a Nick Foles type player. He's kind of like the savior in Tennessee right now. QB1, whether you like him or not, Marcus Mariota goes down, and all of a sudden Ryan Tannehill gets his second life and his second chance to be an NFL starter. And he's been great. Like, there's been games against, the Raiders where he played great, and I was watching some film on him yesterday. He has been making, pro-level throws that, the top 5 quarterbacks in the league make effortless. But I don't see him as the kind of guy that's going to go into Foxborough and get into a shootout with Tom Brady because there's going to be no running game. He
Playoff
has to
time
have
and
that running
regular
game.
season time are two different things, and I don't know Tannehill's postseason experience. I think it's little to none, if I'm not mistaken.
It is exactly none. I did an article earlier this year.
Okay.
He has not even played in a single postseason game.
Okay. So
yeah, I think we're all on the same page there.
all right.
Yeah,
Well,
you don't get many of those.
I got the Patriots winning by actually 13 points.
Wow.
I think Tennessee okay, so if this line stays at 5.5 or 5, I think Tennessee covers, but I don't think they win.
I don't see them covering 5.
I got New England by 3.
3? Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. All right.
That'll be a fun game.
Yeah. We got the Vikings and the Saints.
Oh, man.
Oh boy.
This is going to be a wild one. I let the Vikings fan take it away.
Yeah, so it is kind of hard to get the Minneapolis Miracle out of my head because that's honestly 90% of what I've been thinking about ever since I saw this playoff game. And honestly, I think this game profiles as a pretty similar one to that one. I think that this is a Superdome game. We've seen how many Superdome games turn into absolute shootouts. Although I'm not a huge fan of Kirk Cousins as a Vikings fan, I do think he is capable of at least keeping pace with Drew Brees in a game like this. That being said, the health of Dalvin Cook is the most important thing in this game. If Dalvin Cook is 100% healthy, that's the only way the Vikings have a chance to pull this win off. I mean, we saw what his absence does to that team when they played Green Bay on Monday night. I mean, their offense is just nothing without Dalvin Cook. So using him, emphasizing him in the play action game and everything else like that. The Saints defense as a whole has been pretty good this year, but their pass defense is a little bit weaker than their run defense. So I think getting him open on screens, kind of just using his good receiving hands out of the backfield, I think that'll be crucial if they want any chance of winning this game. And obviously having Thielen back at full health, although I'm not sure if he has been yet, but having that wide receiver core back at full health will obviously be a huge help as well.
Yeah, what is the status of Thielen right now?
So Thielen is technically healthy. It's more just that he's trying to just get back in sync and back in football shape, and I don't think him and Cousins have developed that chemistry back yet because he was on the field for a fair amount of that game at Green Bay or against Green Bay, but he only had 3 targets. I think he's just getting back up to speed, and so they will have a little bit of time to do that. So hopefully they can do that because Cousins is a much better quarterback when Thielen's streaking down the field and catching those touchdowns. I mean, we've seen those games where that receiver core just runs wild. So that'll be huge as well.
I like that. What's your thoughts here, Austin?
So this is my biggest point difference I have out of any of the playoff games. I have the Saints winning by 11. I don't see anybody on the Vikings that can cover Michael Thomas the entire game. I don't think Anthony Harris can do it, and I certainly don't think Xavier Rhodes can do it. And my biggest knock against the Vikings is their quarterback. I don't like Kirk Cousins. I'm definitely not a fan. And I think he will turn the ball over at least once in a crucial scenario. My thing with him is he's so easy to rattle. Za'Darius Smith in the Packers game at Minnesota, he was in Kirk's head. He was seeing things.
4 sacks in that game. That was ridiculous.
And I love Za'Darius Smith because he plays for my team. but he's no Cameron Jordan.
Yeah.
And Cameron Jordan's going to eat Kirk alive. So
Okay.
I don't think there's any injuries or anything that's going to help Minnesota. I think the Saints are going to come in and just sweep house.
How does?
Yeah, it'll be. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
Just to kind of finish that thought on Michael Thomas, yeah, there's truly no one in the NFL that can really guard this guy. I mean, that's been made pretty clear this year. The one thing I like about the Vikings defense, which is certainly not their secondary this year, that's for sure, but Mike Zimmer he's a very good schematic coach. Yeah. So, yes, there's no one that can cover Mike Thomas one-on-one. I mean, there might not be for a few years. But the thing about Zimmer is that he can outsmart, well, maybe not outsmart Sean Payton, but what he can do is basically just limit Michael Thomas. And, again, I don't say stop him because I honestly don't think that can be done. But limit him a little bit just by double teaming him. I think if you just double team Thomas the whole game and just make someone else beat them, they can at least slow the Saints offense a little bit. I mean, yeah, it's Drew Brees, and Drew Brees is very crafty, and he's one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. So this game definitely leans in the Saints' favor, and that's who I will pick just to win this game. But I do think it'll be almost as close as the Minneapolis Miracle we saw a few years ago.
Okay. I got just 4 points to make, and I want your guys' opinion on it, and then we'll go ahead and clear and make sure we've all got the solid picks that we're going to decide on. What's your thoughts on if Michael Thomas is able to be covered in this game? What about Jared Cook and Alvin Kamara?
So, and yeah, that just speaks to how many weapons the Saints have. But yeah, Jared Cook has really come on in the past few games. And tight end, I'm not quite sure how the Vikings defended against the tight end recently, but I know starting off they weren't super great. So that could be another way that Brees can exploit the Vikings defense. The Vikings run defense is a lot better than their pass defense. So while it's hard to absolutely stop a guy like Alvin Kamara, he hasn't quite been Alvin Kamara-esque this year. So I do think that their running defense is definitely their strength, and they can kind of slow down that running game a little bit, where I think the Vikings do get beat. I think the Saints will have a way better passing day than a running day. And again, you can also use Kamara in the passing game. So Kamara might still have a good game, but I just don't think he'll have a good game on the ground.
Okay. What's your thoughts
I would agree with that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think Jared Cook is one of those tight ends that's kind of very overlooked in the league. And I don't think he'll get a lot of attention, especially when you have to worry about Michael Thomas. And Drew Brees has been no stranger to spreading the ball around to a lot of different guys. You got Traquan Smith, you got Keith Kirkwood. They have those little receivers that's like, oh, is that Michael Thomas that you just threw to? And it's a guy you've never heard of. And I think that having a guy like Michael Thomas kind of takes the spotlight away from some of those other guys, and Drew Brees will find him open. So I do agree that the passing game is going to be Saints' key to winning this game. I don't see Alvin Kamara having a big game. I didn't like the Latavius Murray move, so I don't really think he's going to be good either.
No.
They're gonna strike Minnesota through the air. That's what they do. That's what they do best. They're in their stadium.
The Saints are.
I will bet the over on this game. I can say that right now.
The Saints are 6-1 at home in the Peyton era during the playoffs. And that's 2006.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
They have one of the best home field advantages in the league, for sure.
Most definitely. One more point. What do you guys think of this is a playoff game? Would you consider this prime time, and does that affect Kirk Cousins in his prime time ability?
Oh, yeah.
It's tough to really say how it will affect him just because we haven't really seen him in this situation before. Because, I mean, the time before it was Keenum, and I actually do like Keenum better than Cousins, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I do think it'll affect him at least to begin with. I definitely think he'll have some jitters and that he'll be a little antsy and maybe, I don't want to say rusty, but just a little bit off to begin the game, which is why I think it's really important for them to establish Cook early. And I also think, I didn't make this a point before, but I also think it'll be good to not just force feed Cook, because let's not forget he is coming off an injury, and he is kind of injury prone too.
Yeah.
And the Vikings do have a really good second back in Alexander Madison, the kid out of, I believe it's Ole Miss. But he's shown that he's a really good second running back. So I think just using that tandem of Cook and Madison and just establishing the running game early, and like what I was saying with the Buffalo-Houston game, best way to beat the New Orleans Saints offense will simply be to just keep the ball away from them. The Vikings need to sustain long drives and score touchdowns and not just field goals.
All right. So, what are your guys' picks in this one?
Oh, boy.
I got the Saints by 7.
So in terms of, I'll pick the Saints by 3 in this game. But in terms of the Vegas spread, which is currently at Saints -9, I think that's way too high. I do think this will be a bit of a closer game, which, I mean, every time the Vikings play the Saints, it seems to turn into like a 38-35 shootout. I'm not sure of the history on that, but every Vikings-Saints game I can remember has been quite high scoring, especially when it's been in New Orleans. And let's not forget, these are 2 dome teams. I mean, the Vikings play on turf, well, not in a dome, but indoors. But
Right.
So, yeah, I do think this is a higher scoring game. And when you have higher scoring games like that, that definitely does increase the variance. Just, so, I mean, because it's a lot easier to pick a huge favorite with a point spread like the Tennessee-New England game as opposed to just a shootout with back and forth. So I do think the Saints win, but I do think it comes down to the last couple minutes.
Okay, I like that. You said the Saints are going to be blowing them out, right?
Yeah, I said the Saints by 11. My score prediction was 31-20.
Okay, all right. And what's the key reason on that? You said because Michael Thomas?
Oh, yeah, I think Michael Thomas is going to eat the Vikings secondary up.
I like
Can't
that.
guard Mike.
Okay.
Can't guard Mike.
All right, so we've gone through the wild card. Before the playoffs begin, and this was how we'll close it out, before the playoffs begin, what is your guys' teams that you think will be in the NFC and the AFC championships before the playoffs start?
I'm going to go out on a bit of a limb here. I think it's going to be Houston. The team as a whole does not impress me, but when you have a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, he can make some special things happen. And the play that keeps coming into my mind was, I'm not sure what week it was, but it was one of the very last plays of the game where he rolls out, he gets kicked in the eye, and throws a touchdown with basically one eye closed as he's running away from like 3 different defenders. I don't know how a human even makes that play. So Houston is one of those teams that if they get hot, I would not want to play Deshaun Watson in the playoffs. I'm sorry, Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins, forget it.
Yeah. So who do you have Houston playing in the AFC Championship?
For the AFC Championship, this is a boring pick, but I do think it's New England again. They're so good in January. Keep in mind that they kind of did this. They fooled us once before a couple of years ago. We thought it was the end of Tom Brady and that they were just going to fall off the map. And then, surprise, they're in the Super Bowl. They just know how to win and know how to win those crucial playoff matchups. So I think it'll be New England for sure.
It's a true testament to how Bill Belichick's coaching mind really is as superior to other teams' coaches at the moment.
He's the best coach we've ever seen.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
How about you, AFC, Austin? Let me know what you're thinking.
I have Kansas City because I think Mahomes is going to elevate that whole team, and he's going to get that one back from last year. And I have, and it's kind of a boring pick, but I have Baltimore. I don't think anybody's been able to stop them from running the ball, and cold weather in Foxborough or wherever you're at, running the ball is going to be key, and I don't think anybody's been able to stop Lamar Jackson from running the ball.
I also agree with Baltimore and Kansas City in the AFC Championship. How are we looking on the NFC side for you guys? Let's start with Austin.
The NFC, I could be a little biased, but I have Green Bay and New Orleans.
Okay.
I think someone's got to take San Francisco out for Green Bay to go to the Super Bowl because I don't want to play them again, and I know Aaron Rodgers doesn't. But Rodgers is going to have one. He's kind of been coasting with the team the entire season, and he hasn't had the luxury to do that his entire career. So I kind of understand what he's doing. But he's going to have one game this postseason where he just pops off. And it's vintage Aaron Rodgers. He's 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, over 70% completions, and he, puts the team on his back.
Is Aaron Rodgers in the state of mind to do this season?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
I just don't think I think he's been holding back a little bit.
Okay. So who do you got? The Packers playing?
The Saints.
The Saints.
For the most part, another just simply back like Trubisky in a very long time. So I do think it's those two, and I'd give a slight edge to New Orleans if they play in the championship game.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I had lost connection. So
last time they played, they weren't able to beat San Francisco, and if they came face-to-face again, I think New Orleans would pull it off.
I had lost connection, so I'm gonna have to load the rest of this video up here in a little while. Can you guys hear me?
I think so.
Can you guys hear me? Damn.
I think Rodgers can do it.
Can you guys hear me?
And I think I do like just top to bottom roster wise. I think New Orleans is in the NFC at least. I think New Orleans is the best, but I do think San Francisco is the one team that can beat them if it does come to that.
Can you guys hear me?
I would agree. I think Green Bay can get to the NFC Championship, and I think they can get to the Super Bowl as long as somebody else knocks out San Francisco. Yeah, most definitely. I'd agree with that. So can't play that. Yeah, and even in years past, San Francisco showed me Green Bay's kryptonite was they lost back-to-back seasons to Colin Kaepernick, and he just ran everywhere. It's just something about the Packers and the 49ers.
They tend to have some wacky, crazy games. I would definitely agree with that. All right, so I think that is just about it for us.
Yeah.
And as Nick, let's see. Can you hear us, Nick? Nick's still having. Nick's still having some issues there. So.
I can hear you guys.
We can hear us. Yeah. Oh, you can. Okay. So yeah, we can definitely wrap this up. So yeah, this was kind of our wild card preview for the weekend. We hope you guys tune in for whenever we do our next live feed. I'm sure it'll be for the next playoff weekend when we just discuss the upcoming matchups. But yeah, until then, just see you guys next time. Again, I'm Christian Keller. I'm Austin Wilson. And then, yeah, you heard before that is Nick right there, mouthing silently. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching, all of you that you did, and we will see you next week.